Welcome to the walkthrough of the frequently made mistakes from Assignment 2. First, please get in the habit of thoroughly documenting your code. In addition to documenting the method declarations in the header file, also make sure you document the bodies of the method implementations in the .cpp file, unless, of course, they're so trivial that it doesn't require any documentation at all. Next, when you define C++ templates, such as the scoped array, which is the focus of this assignment, don't include the start.h file in the .cpp file, but instead include the .cpp file in the .h file. Let's now take a look at the scoped array implementation and some issues that arose there. In the declaration of the class itself, you don't need to define a size data member. That doesn't have to be there. You just need to be able to have basically a pointer to the array that you're going to be working on as the scoped array. Speaking of the scoped array, make sure that you use the base member initialization section to initialize the data member that you define in your scoped array class, which let's assume for sake of argument is called marray. So assuming you have an marray method defined or marray data member defined in your scoped array, then you should initialize that in the base member initialization section, which is the part that comes after the colon here, rather than doing it inside the body of the constructor. Just a good habit to get into. It's not really strictly necessary here, but it's just a good habit to get into, so make sure you do it that way. Now we're down in the reset method. This reset method does not need to check whether the marray data member is null or a null pointer before it's deleted. It's perfectly okay in C++ to just say delete open, close, square brackets, marray. That's fine. You don't need to check for null pointer. And the reason for that, of course, is that the delete call itself does that check. So that's just completely redundant and unnecessary and adds extra overhead. As minuscule as it may be, it adds extra overhead that you don't need to incur. And then finally, this code can be simplified to avoid using standard swap. It's actually, believe it or not, easier to not use standard swap. It's often good to use standard swap if you need to use it, but this is a case where you really don't need to use it. So you can avoid that and just use a temporary variable to do the swapping, and you'll be all set. So you can see here that there was actually very few problems with the solutions people did for assignment 2. That's great news. So thanks for putting the time into getting your solutions good off the starting blocks. And I look forward to seeing further good solutions for assignment 3.